It's Friday, and let's talk about love. Specifically, Laylah. Now, Crowley had a girlfriend, a very, very beautiful girlfriend, and she was a violin virtuoso. Her name is Laylah Waddell, and she was famous in her own right. She was a New Zealand violin virtuoso, and she was drop dead gorgeous. And he was, to say the least, in love with her. He even deified her, which is what I want to kind of talk about today briefly. He thought so much of their relationship and his magical self-identity that he projected upon Laylah all the essential qualities of a goddess incarnate, and worshipped her as such. Now here is a copy of a Thelemic, Crowley's Thelemic magical circle. Now, we're all sort of familiar with the magical circle that has all those Kabbalistic names of God and the names of the Sephirah or Sephiroth, with which each of them are assigned to sort of as a tree of life. And here in the Thelemic tree of life, we've got the Tao cross, or the Tao cross. There's the 10 emanations are represented in colored squares. The altar being set in the appropriate place of what planetary sphere you might be working on, or otherwise it's set right in the middle at the Tifereth. And that is set within those 3 sort of diamond-shaped lozenges, kind of representing the, all things Trinitarian, especially the supernal triad. But look at the God names on the outside. The huge, huge God names of Nuit, Hadit. Sometimes Crowley actually spelled that with a TH at the end. And Rahur Kuit. So he's pretty much got the all of everything wrapped up in those divine concepts. Those are pretty damn good divine names to have in anybody's circle. And then he's got Chaos and Babylon. Let's see, I guess we can turn it around so you can see that. You got Chaos and Babylon. So that's number 2 and number 3 on the tree of life. Chaos is the beast, and Babylon is Babylon, okay? And sort of a different way of looking at Nuit and Hadith there. But look what he's got here. He's got Laylah and Perdurabo. Now, Laylah is who we're talking about today, but Perdurabo is Crowley's neophyte name. It's Crowley standing almost as a human, trying to be at the beginning of his magical adventure. The thing about mottos and the thing about how you identify yourself with each step on your initiatory journey is sort of wonderful, and it's illustrated nicely on a tree of life. When you move from 10 and awaken to the level of consciousness of 9, say, on the tree of life, you don't leave your 10ness behind you. You drag it up with you. So let's say when you're operating on the self-identity level of 9 or Yesod on the tree of life, you're a 9, but you bring your 10ness up with you. And that's what gets sucked up that path, the Tav path that joins 10 and 9. And then as you move from 8, you drag your 9ness up with you and your 10ness up with you. And there's paths on the tree of life that sort of treat the whole thing like one of those novelties flavor straws, okay? Kether up at the top is sucking all of this up. But anyway, you drag all your previous history up with you, okay? So, Perdurabo, Nuit, Hadit, Rahur, Kuit. But Laylah and Perdurabo, because he deified her and loved her on this plane. It was the equivalent of personifying his love of deity and worshiping it as such and communing with it as such. Now, years ago, our good friend Anna in the tree in OTO gave me this book, Love Poems of God, after I spoke at the OTO's Notacon concerning the knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel. She thought I would really appreciate this. And it's 12 Sacred Voices from the East and West, and it's translated by Daniel Ladinsky. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this guy's work, I can't recommend this high enough. But who can really recommend it, and who took this book over almost immediately after I got it, was Constance. And it's been her constant companion ever since. These are devotional love poems, some of them just several words long and some of them several paragraphs long, but none of them are very long, and they're awesome. Okay. As you can see, this is by her bedside. And she's got quite a few bookmarks in it. Crowley also wrote what I consider a series of love poems to God. And in a sense, when we were talking about things across the abyss, that's also love poems from God. And he did it right in the middle of his awesome adoration period of his relationship with Laylah, which just happened to be around 1912 or 1913. And he enshrined them in several of the chapters of the Book of Lies. Again, very short little one-page snippets of literature. And there's 91, total of 93 little one-page chapters, okay? And each of them I've got categorized, I've shown this to you before, with little chapters that are related to each other. There's a chapter on the IT thing, and it, okay, is Yod Tet. It's on one plane, it's the phallus, secret phallus, the phallus concealed, and the T is the phallus extended and manifested. So IT would be like the hermit and the strength card or the lust card. And then there's a chapter on that, which is another sort of one of those things. And a bunch of chapters about Perdurabo, and a bunch of chapters on Laylah. And I know over the years I've read the entire Book of Lies to you, but today I just want to talk about a couple of those Laylah, those devotional things. And we can say that that Crowley was a cad and a bounder and all sorts of things we can say about Crowley. But when he fell in love, it was like falling in love with God. And Laylah was that God. Laylah was that Babylon. Laylah was that Nuit. Laylah was his Shakti. Laylah was his Babylon on 156. Anyway, so I'm going to use my own little index that I wrote here in the back of the book and start with number 28 and read Crowley's love poems to God. 28 is called Pole Star. Love is all virtue, since the pleasure of love is but love, and the pain of love is but love. Love taketh no heed of that which is not, and of that which is. Absinthe, not absinthe, but absence, exalted love, and presence exalteth love. Love moveth ever from height to height of ecstasy, and falleth never. The wings of love droop not with time, nor slacken for life or for death. Love destroyeth itself, uniting itself with that which is not self, so that love breedeth all and none in one. Is it not so? No? Then thou art not lost in love. Speak not of love. Love always yieldeth. Love always hardeneth. Maybe I write it but to write her name. Love always yieldeth, love always hardeneth. Laylah. Laylah. Maybe I write it but to write her name. And I may not read all the commentaries to all of this morning's, but I will read this one. Now, this introduces the principal character of this book, Laylah, who is the ultimate feminine symbol to be interpreted on all planes. But in this chapter, little hint is given of anything beyond physical love. It is called the pole star because Laylah is the one object of devotion to which the author ever turns. Note the introduction of the name of the beloved in line 15. That's the love always yieldeth. Okay. The next Laylah chapter is 29. Love, it's called the Southern Cross. Remember, Laylah was from, she's Australian, or actually New Zealand, I believe. Love, I love you. Night, night cover us. Thou art night, O my love, and there are no stars but thine eyes. Dark night, sweet night, so warm and yet so fresh, so scented, yet so holy, cover me, cover me. Let me be no more. Let me be thine. Let me be thou. Let me be neither thou nor I. Let there be love in night, and night in love. N-O-X, the night of Pan, and Laylah, the night before his threshold. Now, Laylah is Arabic for night. And the author begins to identify the beloved with the N-O-X. N-O-X is, instead of LVX, light and extension, N-O-X is the pre-dimensional, I guess, existence of the night of Pan, which is usually associated with number 3 on the tree of life, and number 3 is associated with Babylon Nuit. Okay, so the chapter is called the Southern Cross because on the physical plane, Laylah is an Australian. The next one is 49. And 49 is where we actually, and this is pretty early in Crowley's career here to be pulling off stuff like this. This is where we've got the Star of Babylon. There, it plays into this. I got to warn you, the phone may ring because we've been getting a lot of robocalls, and I forgot to take it off the hook. Anyway, 49, which of course is 7 times 7. And 7 is the passive and feminine number, but don't get Kabbalistic. This is about love. Waurata. Waurata blossoms. It's a flower, Australian flower. 7 are the veils of the dancing girl in the harem of it. 7 are the names, and 7 are the lamps beside her bed. 7 eunuchs guard her with drawn swords. No man may come nigh unto her. In her wine cup are 7 streams of blood of the 7 spirits of God. 7 are the heads of the beast whereon she rideth, the head of an angel, the head of a saint, the head of a poet, the head of an adulterous woman, the head of a man of valor, the head of a satyr, and the head of a lion serpent. 7 letters hath her holiest name, and it is Babylon. This is the seal upon the ring that is on the forehead of it. And this is the seal upon the tombs of them that she hath slain. Here is wisdom. Let him understand and count the number of Our Lady, for it is the number of a woman. And her number is her number is 156. Okay, I got a deck of Thoth cards here handy, and if I can find this fast, I'll share it with you before we move on. Okay, here we go. This is the lust card. Okay, this is the T of it. The hermit being the I. But of course, it's the lust card. But I'm going to zoom in there so you can see the lion's head. Okay, I don't know if you can see it right away, but right here, right there, that's really the lion's open mouth. Okay, and he's turning back, and the lion is looking at the Holy Grail there. But the whole lion and his mane and everything else is made up of the heads of the beast. 7 are the heads of the beast whereon she rideth. The head of an angel, that's probably, well, I won't point it out. You can find them yourself. The head of an angel, the head of a saint, the head of a poet, that's probably Crowley right there himself, the head of an adulterous woman, it's probably that gal that's turning back there, smiling, looking like she's having a good time. The head of a man of valor, the head of a satyr, and the head of a lion serpent. Okay. There's a long commentary there, but I don't want to. I don't want to make us plunge into Kabbalah at the moment. 55 is the next one. The drooping sunflower. The one thought is vanished. All my mind was torn to rags. Nay, nay, my head was mashed into wood pulp, and thereupon the daily newspaper was printed. Thus wrote I, since my one love was torn from me. I cannot work, I cannot think. I seek distraction here, I seek distraction there, but this is all my truth, that I, who love, have lost. And how may I regain? I must have money to get to America. O mage, O sage, gauge thy wage, or in the page of thine age is written rage. Oh, my darling, we should not have spent 90 pounds in that 3 weeks in Paris. Slash the brakes on thine arms with a pole-axe. Okay, that's in reference to Liber Jigorum, where you're trying to train your mind not to do something or do something every time you say something or think something, and every time you break your concentration, you slice your arm with a knife or a razor to make this little wound remind you of how many times you've dropped your concentration. So he says, slash the breaks in thine arm with a poleaxe. Okay, obviously Laylah had gone to America, and Crowley's just beside himself. But remember, she's God, and he's treating her as such. It's as if the God of your devotion is testing you, challenging you, tormenting you. The next one is 56. Now, 56 is a big number. My number is 6 and 50, Nuit says. And this is called the trouble with twins. And as we'll see, the twins are Perdurabo, and then the imp Crowley. They're both him. The trouble with twins. Holy, 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 unto 555 times holy be Our Lady of the Stars. Hadith is 555. Holy, 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 unto 156 times holy be Our Lady that rideth upon the beast. Holy, 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 unto the number of times necessary and appropriate be Our Lady Isis in her millions of names, All Mother, Genitrix, Meretrix. Yet holy, holier than all these to me is Laylah, night and death. For her do I blaspheme alike the finite and the infinite. So wrote not Frater Perdurabo, but the imp Crowley in his name. For forgery, let him suffer penal servitude for 7 years, or at least let him do pranayama all the way home. Home? Nay, but to the house of the harlot, whom he loveth not, for it is Laylah that he loveth. And yet, who knoweth which is Crowley and which is Frater Perdurabo? Okay. The exoteric blasphemy is hinted in the last paragraph, may be an esoteric arcanum, for the master of the temple is interested in Malkuth, as above so below, as Malkuth is in Bina. Also, Malkuth is in Kether, and Kether is in Malkuth. And to the ipsissimus, that's number 1. That's the title of when your consciousness is number 1 on the tree of life. To the ipsissimus, disillusion in the body of Nuit, and a visit to the brothel may be identical. I just love this book as a treasure. Okay, that was 55. And I think I was going to do, or 56. Okay, I think I was going to do one more this morning. '57. Dirt. Oh, it's called the duck-billed platypus. Okay, which is only found in Australia. A duck-billed platypus. You know, a duck-billed platypus is sort of like a sphinx. It lays eggs like a bird and a reptile. It's got fur like a mammal. Oh, and it gives milk too. Dirt is matter in the wrong place. Thought is mind in the wrong place. Matter is mind, so thought is dirt. Thus argued he, the wise one, not mindful that all place is wrong. For not until the place, and this is all he calls place, all capitals, for this is not the place, it is perfected by a T, saith he, placet, or placé. The rose uncrucified droppeth its petals. Without the rose, the cross is a dry stick. Worship then the rosy cross and the mystery of two in one, and worship him that swore by his holy T, that one should not be one except in so far as it is two. I am glad that Laylah is afar. No doubt clouds love. That's where we're going to end today. And we'll pick up a few more Laylah chapters tomorrow for Saturday morning cartoons, and perhaps for the Kabbalists out there, read a couple of the commentaries that sort of make sense and help us understand the profundity of the divine names that surround the Thelemic magical circle. Now, if you were that gaga over a partner, a lover that you could worship, even in a temporary way, if you could worship as God itself, then you'd put your motto on your magical circle. And your lover's motto right next to you, as if you were Nuit and Hadit and Babylon and the beast and chaos and Nuit, Hadit, all that stuff. It's all you. You've only got yourself to work with. So why don't you incorporate your work, your life, your love in your magic? We'll see you for Saturday morning cartoons tomorrow. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.